G'day guys, how's it bloody going? And welcome to MAT5 Mini Reviews. DayZ Standalone, Rust, Nether, shut up I can't pronounce, and Infestation Survival Stories, aka War Z. Oh, that was a mouthful. Alright, in 2012, there was a mod that was released, and it was called, of course, DayZ. Now, this game was, it was so unique. It was just a mod of Arma 2, and pretty much what it was just a zombie, open-world MMO survival game. So the aim of this game was, there was no aim. That was the thing. All you had to do was survive. And not just zombies, but you have to survive people as well. Here we are in 2014, where all of these survival MMOs have just sprung up ever since that mod has been released, because it was so popular. It made all of these developers want to get in on it as well. So today I'm only deciding to review MMO survival games. There are actually a lot of normal single player survival games that were released after the mod as well, but I'm only going to focus on MMO, player versus player versus PvP and PvE games. Before I get reviewing, I'm going to just chuck up some specs / information about the games, how they compare in certain things, and just give you information that you might not know about. So this displays what stage the game is in at the moment. Is it an early alpha, closed beta, or is it actually a fully released game at the moment? This displays the maximum amount of players that are allowed on one server at once. Now remember, this is subject to change. I mean, most of these games are still in early alpha, so it'll probably end up increasing over time, but even some of these games, I mean, it reaches like 200. That's amazing. But yeah, that's what it is at the moment. This one displays which games have microtransactions. Why do they have microtransactions? It's fucking horrible. I just wanted to throw it up for you to look at so you know which games have this fucking thing. And this list shows you which camera angles you can play, if it's either first person or third person or both in the game. Alright, this is pretty obvious. This display shows which games have enterable vehicles, drivable vehicles. And the last list, these are the prices of the games on Steam on this date. Alright, so now that I've gotten all that little bit of information out, let's start with DayZ Standalone. So you're probably thinking, DayZ Standalone, DayZ mod, what's the difference? Pretty much DayZ Standalone is, as it says, it's DayZ on its own. It's not a mod, it's its own game. But where DayZ Standalone stands, it doesn't really differ much from the mod. And just to remind you, this is the early access, so this version will have lots of bugs and a lot of content that's not put in the game yet. But hey, I have to review it as it is. So where to start with DayZ? DayZ is probably the hardest game to play. I'm not saying the game is hard in general, I'm saying that it's hard on the control side. So pretty much the movement controls are still really cumbersome. The menus have changed, they're a lot better than they used to be, but still a little bit fiddly, but I do like it more than it used to be. So of course DayZ doesn't really have a story. This game is pretty much just about an outbreak, and there's zombies everywhere. Survive. Now there isn't a lot of new additions, or not a lot of new additions that will blow you away, but things I do like is character customization. I just love it. It feels like you're going shopping. I mean, you just go into every building and you just find different clothes and oh, that looks good, oh, that looks good. And you're just putting on different clothes. It's just very funny. Everybody looks unique and different. I just think it's really cool, and it's just it kind of stands out for me. I just think it's realistic and cool. It's just, fashion sense, yeah. I like how a lot more buildings are enterable now. Some you still can't enter, but a lot more, trust me, a lot more than the DayZ mod you're allowed to enter and scavenge now. And also with scavenging, they've tried to, instead of placing all of the items in the same spot every single time in a building, they've randomized it and placed it in hidden spots, on top of cupboards or under beds, stuff like that. I think that's really cool, because it's more realistic and people might actually miss things if they don't look well enough. There's a lot of new items and stuff, and a lot more interesting things you have to do with food and blood transfusions. Blood transfusions is actually a really hard process now, and with food you actually have to open cans with some sort of sharp thing, and you can use like multiple sharp things. It's just a lot more realistic, and I think it's actually really cool. It's just very stressful. Oh, I have a can, oh, but I'm starving, and you just scavenge to try and find anything sharp. You don't have to find a can open, you just have to find anything sharp and just open that bitch up and just scoff it down. Like I said, there's no vehicles in the game in its current state. There's a lot of things that are going to be added on later. This game is supposed to not even be finished this year, so it's going to have a whole year to add on new things. But like I said, I have to review it in its current state. But yeah, there's no vehicles. Apparently there's not a lot of guns either. Like, there's only like one machine gun, a couple of handguns, a rifle or something. I looked it up, but there wasn't a lot of weapons, so there's a lot of things that still have to be added into the game. And of course you can meet other players in this game. There's a little bit more interactivity. It actually gives you the option to put your hand up to sort of say hi, or you can actually give up or something, like surrender. And you can actually get like handcuffs, and you can handcuff people and like rob them. It's very interesting, realistic, a different take on banditry. So bandits don't always have to mow you down, but obviously dickheads are still gonna do it. I mean, even I do it. Usually I be sort of a bandit if I just die over and over and over again in these games. But I try to be friendly at the start, and sometimes I get annoyed and I just kill anybody. It depends. It's hard to tell, but that's what this game's like. It tests your morals. It really does. So yeah, I'd say if you loved the DayZ mod, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you'll love it in its current state. Like I said, there's not a lot of new additions. The DayZ mod has a lot more going at the moment. But yeah, you get flashy graphics, a better equipment menu, a lot more buildings to enter, and a more realistic world. But yeah, things are going to get added on later, so it's up to you if you just want to wait to see when they're going to add things later. But yeah, I opted in to buy it now. Maybe you'll be lucky and you'll get it when it goes on sale or something, I don't know. But it's up to you. I just letting you know what's in it now, and yeah, if you want to go for it, go for it. I'd say you'd have fun if you love the DayZ mod, just saying. And I just don't recommend this mod if you're expecting a lot of change, because there's not like any new real additions really that's going to amaze you. Alright, that's enough of DayZ, let's move on to Rust. So Rust is more of a MMO survival game. It doesn't really focus on zombies, it's more about actual survival from wildlife and people. But there are zombies in this game, but they're not as common as in DayZ, and they're not the main threat. So in Rust you pretty much get chucked into this rocky grasscape land naked. Like seriously naked. Okay, but I was confused when I first played this game because it said that there might be nudity, but you're wearing pants, but then I found out it's actually something you can turn off. Just Google it and you can turn off and you can see penis everywhere. If you're into that kind of thing. So this game is very interesting for a number of reasons. This is probably the only game out of all of them where you have to gather resources and you can actually build houses. DayZ has a little bit of a crafting system. I think it's going to expand over time, but Rust is more like if you collect wood from trees, you collect rocks from rocks, you collect chicken breast from deer and bear. Chicken breast just is everywhere. Apparently all these animals are made chicken. Makes sense. But yeah, you get what I mean, and you can actually craft a lot of items. They're not all unlocked for you at the start, but you can craft a lot of items and you can actually build houses. I'm currently trying my best to try and build a house, but I keep dying. This game has a lot of people on one server. A lot of people. This game goes up to 200 people. And it honestly, with everybody building shit everywhere, you just get like you get an open land and you just see house after little shelter after big house. It feels like a little neighborhood at times. You get people running around everywhere and just homes everywhere and gunfire over here and resourcing over here. It's amazing, really. It's a very unique game, sort of like when I played DayZ for the first time. This game, it's just got this uniqueness about it that I haven't gotten since the DayZ mod. I mean, sure, after I build my house, I might not have anything else to do besides survive. But like I said, there are blueprints defined to make new items and stuff, so I think I'm just going to be stuck into this game for a while. And this is only like the first alpha, and apparently there's still a lot of changes to come, so I'm excited about this game. I'm enthusiastic about this game, and actually really addicted to this game. I can't help just, you know, resourcing everything, getting as much shit as I can, staying away from people as much as I can, because they can be deadly motherfuckers. Seriously, some people don't hold back. They see you, they will kill you. But that's like every single game on this list. That's what these games are like. You can't trust anybody. So there are a couple of things that differ this game from the other games on this list. You collect resources. The way you spawn is different. Now, I don't know 100% about this one, but what you can do is craft a sleeping bag. Now, you put a sleeping bag anywhere in the world. You can put it in your house, or you can just put it anywhere. And what you do is when you die, you spawn there. Now, apparently there's sort of like a cooldown of 5 minutes, so if you die again after respawning at your sleeping bag, it doesn't count. You have to wait until after the 5 minutes to die again to come back to your sleeping bag. Now, I'm not really sure what happens when you leave the game when you don't have a sleeping bag. I don't know if the game it kills you and you have to start again or what, but I've heard that maybe you lie down on the ground and people can actually kill you or something. I'm not 100% sure on this one. You might have to look it up yourself, but yeah, this is all I know at the moment. Another thing that stands out about this game is just how immersive and scary this game can be. I haven't been this scared since I first played the DayZ mod, and this is very different. I'll just paint you a picture here. You build a shelter. You're cooking, and there is absolutely no music in this game. So you're cooking, and you hear footsteps outside your shelter, circling, and you don't know what to do. It's like you're living out a home invasion movie. It's so creepy and scary, and you don't know what to do. You don't know if they're going to try and get in. It's really tense. It's just very unique like that. It's scary, and I just love it. It's just so thrilling. I don't think there's been a game where footsteps scare the shit out of me. But yeah, that's the kind of feeling you get in this game. When you hear footsteps outside your shelter, you just stand still. You don't move, hoping they think you're not home, and they just leave you alone. But of course, it isn't all hype. There is downfalls, but it is only early alpha. I mean, the graphics aren't the best, and it's very buggy. Like when you're hacking down trees, sometimes you can actually see through the trees, and the animations of the animals and people are pretty horrible. I mean, when people are holding rocks, they're holding them like this, but when you see them in person, they're holding them like this, like you're holding a gun. So you never know if somebody is holding a gun or a rock. You can't differ from the two, so you don't know if you should be scared of them or not. But well, someone with a rock is scary, but someone with a gun is even scarier. And also at the moment, I don't know if this is the servers or the game, but there seems to be a lot of server wipes. Now, this is where the server completely wipes the game world, so everything starts again, so your house disappears. You have to do everything all over again. I think that's a server thing, though, so I think that's up to the administration's, those guys' choice. But yeah, besides graphical issues, I can't really think of anything that I really hate about this game. I just love collecting resources, I just love the world, and what people are doing with the world. The buildings that people are building are just amazing, some of them. They're like giant skyscrapers and everything. It's just amazing, it's a great world, even if it's full of dicks, but that's what you're gonna get with, you know, a place full of people. You're either going to get good people or bad people. I find that this might be the nicest game I've played, mostly because of the large number, and most of the people that start off like noobs, like with rocks and stuff, they're usually nicer. I have seen a couple of people with guns that actually haven't shot me. They actually come up to me and say, "Oh, don't worry, this is a friendly neighborhood," and they just walk off. It's very interesting, and I just like the friendliness, and I love the mystery of like all the people. It's just amazing. I don't know how to not recommend this game. I mean, I'm guessing if you don't like these survival MMO games, or if you just don't like the graphics or something, or you might get bored, but I honestly don't get bored. I love collecting resources, I love building shit, and I love crafting shit, and I love exploring. It's what I'm into, and I just love this game. I highly recommend it. Alright, anyway, let's move on to Never. Never. I have no idea how to fucking pronounce this game. Shut up, I won't say the name again. Alright, let's just get this out of the way. I think this game interests me the least. It's not as good as DayZ. It's nowhere near as good as DayZ or Rust. I don't know why people are calling this the DayZ killer. I don't see the connection. This game just feels so much different, and it just plays so much different. So this game is set in a giant open city with lots of different buildings to enter and skyscrapers to climb. You can actually climb like really high skyscrapers in this game. The look of the city, think The Last of Us, but not as lush and colourful and beautiful. It's like a really dull and depressing version of The Last of Us. But it is still an interesting world. This is probably the most interesting world. Like, you can see that there was obviously carnage that happened in this city. Dead people everywhere, broken vehicles everywhere, garbage and crap everywhere. It's very nicely detailed in all of those touches. So I do think it's the most interesting looking world, but it's lifeless. I mean, DayZ Standalone might not have animals yet, but it will get animals. But this game doesn't have any animals or anything. Like, it just feels so dead. And what you fight in this game are like aliens. There are a lot of different types and breeds of these alien things you fight. Now, they're random within the city. Sometimes you can run around for ages and not even see any, or sometimes you can run straight into like a bunch of them and all 5 of these things just rape you. It's really random. It's good like that, but yeah, it depends. But these things are just not fun to fight, and they're really fucking hard to fight. They're really powerful. They mob you in groups. I mean, I've had 5 of them full on come at me, and I just couldn't sprint anymore, and all I had was a knife. What the fuck am I supposed to do? But what I hate about these creatures the most is that they can teleport. Like, most of the breeds I think can morph into the ground and just pop out anywhere, like behind you or anything, and just attack you. I just think that's the stupidest thing you could have given them, or the stupidest ability, because they can just all teleport everywhere and just, like, rape you from all sides, and you can't even shoot them properly or attack them properly because they just run away. It's really annoying to fight them. So yeah, I don't think the enemies are very fun to fight. They are interesting, but they're just not very fun to fight, and I just didn't enjoy fighting them at all. Of course, you can meet other players in this game. I don't know if there's voice chat in this game. I think this game doesn't have voice chat. I haven't heard it. DayZ and Rust have it, but I don't think this game does. I haven't heard it. Maybe it has, but I haven't heard it. But yeah, this game probably has the least amount of loot out of all these games. So you have this big open city world, but there's nothing in it. There's just these aliens, there's other players, and there's like a little amount of loot. And I just don't like how all of the items are placed around the world. Like in DayZ, they are like smartly placed in all of these different hidey spots, all of these interesting places in vehicles, stuff like that. But this game, like, everything is only hidden in like the corner of a building or something, one building. I've like gone through buildings, gone through streets, not finding anything at all, and then there's just like one packet of chips like sitting there in the corner of like one building. It's lame. It really is. Like, there's no creativity with the item placing. Like, you can't find items in vehicles. You can find them in the backs of ambulances and army trucks, but that's it. And they have no gravity to them too. Guns stand up like that, straight. I just find it really unrealistic, and it just looks stupid, and they're flashy, and it's not very cool. It just feels very gamey. For a detailed, gritty world, just to have these flashing items on the ground, it just feels like a power-up. It just feels really lame. What is the point of playing this one? In DayZ, you can find all sorts of loot. There is a lot of loot, a lot of places to visit, but this is just one big city and everything looks the same. There's not a lot of loot. There's just guns and shit. I don't get the appeal of this game. Maybe it's fighting these alien things, but I fucking hated fighting them, so yeah, I just didn't get much enjoyment out of this game, and unfortunately I don't think there's like any Australian servers because it doesn't tell you what the ping is. There's no ping in this game, so you don't know if you're going to get a match with lag, because every match I've played, when I go to fire a gun, it fires like a second after. That is incredibly impractical. So yeah, not only is this game really boring to me and like not very fun to play, it's also unplayable to me. So yeah, I'm sorry to talk smack about this game, but it's just, this is the experience I've had with this game, and I just don't find it that much fun at all. I can't really recommend this game if you like the big open Last of Us kind of world, because it gets boring to look at. I mean, it's nice and detailed and everything, but it's not lively. So I can't recommend it for the environment, but the only thing I can think of to recommend it for is if you want to fight aliens. Go and play the alien thing in COD Ghosts or something. That's pretty much the same sort of thing. It's just, I don't think it's worth it, this game. I don't recommend this game. I think this is the first game that I don't recommend. It's just not in its current state. Maybe in the future, but at the moment, I don't get enjoyment out of it. It's just a drag. I'm sorry, this game I don't recommend. I don't recommend this game. I don't like it. Alright, moving on. Infestation Survivor Stories, aka WarZ. There was a lot of controversy when this first came out. When this game was first released, it was released under WarZ. Now, a lot of people were really confused because they thought that this was DayZ Standalone, and it just caused this big uproar, and apparently Steam advertised all of these features that the game didn't currently have in the state it was in, and it was just this whole uproar, and people got refunds, and just a lot of bad shit happened when this game first came out. Now, I played it when it first came out, and I didn't like it as much as DayZ mod, so I hadn't played it for a while, but I've played it now, like, I don't know how long later, like months later, and some things have changed. Like, apparently now there's vehicles, and there's probably more items and just stuff like that, but the things that I didn't like about the game are still in this game. So this game sets you in a world where there's cities and there's bushland and stuff like that. It's actually quite an interesting world. It's kind of like America in the outback sort of thing. It's kind of cool. I like the sort of setting. And there's a zombie outbreak, so it's pretty much just like DayZ. I think you only verse zombies and humans. Now, I didn't play a lot of this game because I played it for a couple of days, like for an hour a day or something, and I just didn't see a lot of changes from when I first played it, when it first came out, like a year or so ago. Like, I heard that there was vehicles, I've heard that there's a few more things you can do, but I didn't play it enough to see it, so I'm sorry that I can't really talk about it. But I can talk about my experience. When this game first came out, it had bad animations, like the zombie animations and stuff like that, and especially the zombie noises they make. It was just so hilarious to listen to and just so stupid. The zombie noises in this game are just ridiculous, and the animations are really shit too. Now, Rust only just released a couple of months ago. Infestation has been out for a while, and it hasn't changed. The animations are still shit. The zombies still sound like shit. It's just, I don't know why they haven't upgraded that. And the one thing that I hated about this game when it first came out is that it spawns you with a flashlight. Now, you can attack zombies with the flashlight, but it's ridiculous. The melee in this game is ridiculous because what I usually do is I jump on top of a car and zombies can't even attack you on the car, although sometimes for some reason they can get on top of the car. It's just another stupid glitch. But, yeah, so you sit on top of a car and all these zombies just pile up beneath this car and you just whack them. You just keep whacking and whacking and whack, whack, whack. And just whacking the one zombie, it's just, it takes for fucking ever. They just don't die. You just whack them and they don't die. And also, I found a frying pan, and I thought, oh, frying pan, this will obviously kill them faster. It didn't. I did exactly the same thing, and I was whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking, and the motherfucker wouldn't die. I don't get why they didn't fix this. Now, I don't know if it's better, because the game didn't have a skill tree back then. This game does, and also the last game does. Nether. That game and this game have skill trees, so you can upgrade your character. Now, in Infestation, there's actually a line that you can follow which upgrades your melee attack, so I don't know if that really helps you out, but as a new spawn, you can barely fucking kill anything with melee weapons, all the ones I found anyway. It's just not fun. I did manage to find guns though, and I found that the game was a lot more fun when you finally found a gun, because they pretty much just drop in one headshot. So I did have fun when that happened. So I was eager to play this game. I left the game and I was eager to get back in and play it. But when I went back into the game to play it, I died while the game was loading. Somebody shot me. Apparently I spawned and somebody shot me before my game even loaded. That's fucking stupid. It could have just been dumb luck, but yeah. Yay. So the items in this game, just like the last game, flash and weapons stand upright, and it's just really gamey and unrealistic and lame. Now this game probably has one of the stupidest things that I've seen in all of these games. When you die, you can't play for 20 minutes. You can't play for 20 minutes. This game blocks you from using that character for 20 minutes. You think that's bad? When the game first came out, you had to wait like 2 hours. 2 hours to play the game again. It's like the game stops you from playing. How fucking rude is that? And guess how you revive quicker? You pay money. Fucking microtransactions. This game and the game that I just reviewed, never... It's just, they have microtransactions, but I think in this game it's a lot more around. Like, it's just sort of more in your face in Infestation, and I just don't know why. It's extremely stupid. Why is there microtransactions in this game? This game just feels more like it should have been a free-to-play game, because it feels like a free-to-play game, but I paid for it. It's got all this shit that I see in free-to-play games, and it wants me to pay money after I've already bought the game. It's fucking stupid. And in the last game, it's not as bad because it's not as in your face, but it's still there and it still pisses me off. So yeah, killing zombies is lame unless you shoot them. Players are usually assholes, but you know, that's what you come to expect in any of these games. You can't review these games based on character behavior. That's just character behavior. But even though this game is extremely crap as well, I do think it's more interesting than the last game I played. It's just, I think there's more to do and more to explore. It's just that game just feels like it has nothing. This game feels like it has more that I could do. Apparently there's resources. I remember seeing a resource slot, and there is a skill tree. So there's probably more that I could discover with this game and play for to discover. But depends what mood I'm in. So if you want a cheap ass version of DayZ, you could get this game, but the microtransactions, and it's still buggy, and the animations are shit, the sound effects are shit. It's just, it feels like a free-to-play game that charges you. So kind of overall, I can't really think of anything interesting to, you know, recommend in this game either. I do slightly think it's more interesting than the last game, but not by much. So if you want a cheap-ass version of DayZ, you could play this, but I would honestly rather go to DayZ or the DayZ mod. So it's hard to review these games and criticize these games because most of them are still in early development, but as you can tell in my review, most of the games that are still in early development are the better games. Infestation is just shit. The other game is shit. And I think Rust and DayZ are the games that I love the most and I really want to keep playing. Alright guys, I hope I've helped you decide which survival MMO game you should get. I know there's a lot more out there, but these are the ones I have at the moment and these are the ones I could review. So have you played any of these survival MMO games? Which ones do you think are really good and stand out, and which ones are just pointless and shit, and why did they even make this? And if you have any questions about this game, which I'm sure you will because there's a lot of shit that I didn't talk about, leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. And if you really like this review, remember to like me on Facebook or subscribe to me on YouTube if you want to see more. Alright guys, thanks for watching my review. MHC5 is bloody out of here.